relaxation, or can you play this game a certain way, not with nothing to lose per se, because it means something, but with a certain amount of aggression because you're already bowl eligible?
Well, bowl eligibility was important for us, and it's great for our seniors, great for our team. That being said, this is Iron Bowl. We're going to play it the same way regardless. When you play in this game, there's always a lot at stake, regardless of all the other factors that go into it. So I don't know if the bowl eligibility has anything to do with necessarily this week.
Have you found things vertically down the field that Jeremy feels confident and good about, and that he can revert back to and say, hey, this has worked, this is good?
Yeah. We feel good at this point, knowing where Jeremy's at. And the thing I liked the most yesterday is, and there was a couple we missed, we should have hit, but he just had a calm confidence about him, just the way he went about the day and the way he played, and he saw everything well, made a lot of good decisions. So I think he's in a good spot right now.
Rhett, it seemed like y'all played up-tempo more, running different plays up-tempo more than you have for most of this season. Is that something you're going to see going forward, or was it something specific to that play of that game? Obviously we always want to play up-tempo. The last 3 games, I thought we did a good job of that against A&M. At times early on against Georgia, and then we faltered. And we were able to get those first downs this week, which allowed us to. And like you said, we were in maybe more formations this game, and so that allowed us to be more multiple with some of the things we did. It's somewhat game plan specific, but we always want to play fast, and we always want to be able to change up what we're doing as we play fast. And at times we did a better job of that Saturday.
Have you noticed over the last 3 games, Jeremy, get that confidence back?
I think so. Like I said, we've missed some throws, or we've missed completing some throws and catches, but just in terms of taking care of the football and knowing where to go with it and having those confidence, having that level of confidence, I think he's better, and I think he'd tell you that. And like I said yesterday, I don't think he made one bad decision the whole game, and so that says a lot about kind of where he's come. And they gave us a bunch of different looks. They were doing a bunch of different things and blitzing different ways to try to stop things, and he made good decisions, whether it be the run or the pass game, every time. And so that's what we need first and foremost. And I think he's, like I said, I liked his demeanor yesterday.
Does he go into this game as the starter?
He's getting better, like where he's at. I think Sean's getting healthier. We know we're going to probably need both those guys. And that's something that Coach will probably address more on Tuesday. At this point, we're just in the early stages of putting a game plan together, so I don't know what we're going to do yet.
Rhett, how did you think Devontae and Robert did in their first starts?
That was Devontae's first full start. I thought he did a good job. A lot of times you don't notice the snaps when he's in there. That's a good thing, first of all. And ID in fronts with a lot of the different things they did, we didn't have a lot of mis-IDs or mistakes there. So overall, I thought Devontae did a nice job. Robert did a solid job as well, and kind of picked up where he left off the last game. So that was good, and able to rest Sean a little bit, which helped.
You guys have scored on the first drive in 3 straight games now. How much of an emphasis are you going to put on that going into the Alabama game?
Just as much as we do every week. We have the last 3 weeks. We've done a good job of starting fast, which we need to do. 2 of the 3 weeks we continued it, 1 we didn't. We'll do everything we can to score the first drive this week, and then hope we can just continue to play well from that point. But even if not, a lot of times you gather a lot of information early in the game. But our guys have done a nice job starting fast the last 3 games, and that's something that we obviously need to do this week.
How do you deal with a defensive front like Alabama's?
How do you what?
How do you deal with a defensive front like Alabama?
It's going to be tough. You look at the stats. I think they got the #1 total defense, the #1 rush defense. It's not even close. They're giving up like 2.5 yards a carry. They got the #1 scoring defense. They're #1 in sacks, #1 in interceptions, 30% on third down. I could go on and on. It's a very, very good defense. They're probably as solid up front as they've ever been, and they've had some really good fronts. And what that allows them to do is, they don't have to take a lot of chances. They can play sound, solid football. They can play with 1 high safety, 2 high safety, whatever they want to do with those guys up front. So we're going to have to do a really good job, maintaining and sustaining our blocks and trying to give our backs a chance to get to that next level, and that's going to be tough.
Rhett, you said there's some up front as you've ever seen them. What makes them different than what you've seen the last 2 years?
Well, I think they got a lot of depth. I think their starting 3 or 4 guys are really good. They've always had 3 or 4 really good starters, but those second guys that come in, if you look at some of the guys that they at least have listed second on their depth chart, those are guys you'd think would be starting. So they've got quality depth there and just great size, really, really good size, and they eat up space really well, which frees up their linebackers.
How important is it to be able to establish some running game against them?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes people look at the standpoint of, man, you can't run it on them, so don't even try. And you can't do that. You can't be one-dimensional and be successful often. You know, you still got to try to have some semblance of balance, even if it's not that you're gashing people up and down the field. And the last couple of years when we've had some success, it's been because we were able to make some plays both running and throwing the football. It'll be no different this year. But you know, we've got to play our best game. There's no question about it.
Sean Coleman and Austin Golson, you're hoping to have them back this week?
Yeah, I feel pretty good that we came out of that game, and the guys that didn't have to go, obviously that helped. The guys that did are no worse for it. And, you know, optimistic, everybody will be ready to go this week. Austin's probably the most questionable of all those, but we'll just have to see how the week progresses. But we feel pretty good.
Can you tell a difference? Can you tell a difference in Jeremy's psyche after a little bit of success?
Yeah, he's been really good the last 3 weeks. You know, I think, again, we talked about it a few weeks ago, he stepped back, he was able to kind of regroup, and when he came back in, you know, he just kind of played. And he's done a good job of allowing his teammates to help him. He's not trying to do everything by himself. And I think over those last 3 games, he started to play better because he's just trusting those guys. He's doing his job, not trying to do too much, and letting those guys help him. And I think he's having a little bit of fun now, which is good.
I was going to ask, how big is it for Devontae that he started this last game, he played in the second half of Georgia, that he might possibly be starting this week, so he's not going into it kind of blind?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, obviously, the more reps he can get, he's doing a really solid job for us. I mean, a guy who never played that position, you know, you would expect a senior who's played a lot last year to be the guy who could make that move. And like I said, so far he's done a really nice job. And if he's called upon again this week, then it's been good that not only he got to play a full half against Georgia, he got a full game. And it also helps for playing at home. You know, that always helps. It's easier on centers than playing on the road with the noise and all that.
What did Robert Left do well?
What did Robert Left do well? He did everything well. Obviously, we ran the ball a lot more than we threw it, but I think there was only one time he might have got beat a little bit in pass protection, and it didn't hurt us. So, you know, Robert's turned into a really solid football player for us. Whether he's playing left tackle, whether he's playing tight end, you know, he's been a big plus for us this year and become one of the strengths of our offense.
How valuable, having a guy like him, how valuable is it, the guy that can play tight end, can throw an area tackle, kind of gives you some options?
It's real valuable, and what it's done, it's made him a better player. It's developed him. You look 2 years ago when Greg was playing left tackle, we were able to do that with Sean, who was his backup, our sixth guy. Then you look last year, we were able to do it with Braden, and just kind of that process has not only made us better when we have a tight end in the game, but it's helped those guys develop and get more snaps, so when they do have to go play tackle or guard or wherever we put them, you know, they've got a lot more snaps as opposed to just sitting behind a guy as a backup. So it's been valuable.
If Austin can't go, is the backup to Devontae still Will Adams, or is it Avery? Or?
Well, Will did take some snaps last week. We also went into the game with Avery having taken some snaps. So, you know, we have 2 guys there that we could turn to. It probably depends on if something happened, where all the other pieces are on how we would shuffle that around. But both Avery and Will worked last week taking snaps and were prepared if needed to play last week.
You guys have faced Leonard Fournette. It was kind of like a one-dimensional offense that Fournette had no room to run. What did you think about that performance? And, you know, from Alabama's defense, is that something that kind of gets your attention?
Are you talking about when Alabama played LSU?
Played LSU, right.
Yeah, it definitely gets your attention because, you know, he's arguably one of the top 2 or 3 players in the whole country, and they held him to 30-something yards. And you know, now in LSU, even though they've been run heavy, the quarterback has talent. They got 2 or 3 wideouts that can play. So you can say one-dimensional sometimes, and it can be misleading because I guarantee when they played that game, they were honoring Malachi Dupree and the other guy they got, and that quarterback with the big arm, and they made some plays. So again, we're going to have to play a solid football game all around. We're going to have to make plays throwing the football. We're going to have to be able to run the football. You know, that's just what it's going to come down to. We're going to have to be balanced.
Ray, you talked about, you know, we have to, you know, be able to run the football. We can't go away from that. But how do you mix as a play caller the cliche of you got to keep them honest with giving plays away? You know, and
Yeah.
you're just doing. If a 3-yard play, it can be a successful play. Is that kind of what you're going at here? Is because second 7 is better than second 10?
Second 7 is definitely better than second and 10. And you know, our goal, if 3 yards is great and all, I mean, it's old. I mean, this is old school football. If you can get 4 yards of play, that's a good play because if you get 4 yards of play, you're going to get a first down every time. And so if you get 3 yards of play, you're going to be in 4th and 1. So, every game's different based on what a defense does, how they play first down, how they play second down, and then obviously who you are as an offense. And again, like I said before, balance doesn't mean you got 200 yards rushing, 200 yards passing. It just means you have the capability to mix it up and keep someone off balance because you're balanced and you can take what they give you. If they're making you throw the football, you can make some plays throwing it. If they're making you run it, you can make some plays running it. So, you know, sometimes as a play caller, you get in the game, it's a feel thing a little bit. I mean, what's working? You're going to stick with what's working. Sometimes you go into a game, you know, we intended to run the ball a lot yesterday because that was the matchup that was favorable, but we also had plenty of opportunities to take some throws down the field, and we did that. So it can't be as simple as, hey, we're always going to do this on first down, we're always going to do that. You do have to mix it up, and you have to, like you said, try to do some things to disguise or have some wrinkles where the tendencies aren't just overwhelming.
With it being near the end of the regular season, it's just naturally stuff that comes up in the coaching circles this time of year and stuff. It's been reported that Tim submitted his resume for the North Texas job. Just what has he meant, and what would it mean if he were to go anywhere, whether it be there or anywhere else?
Well, I don't know anything about Tim and other jobs. I mean, I really don't. He and I haven't talked about that, so that's kind of the first I've heard of it. I know Tim's like me. We're as deep as we can be in getting ready for this week. That being said, Tim does a great job here. He'd be an excellent coach as a head coach, but that's kind of the first I've heard of it. And as far as I know, and as far as I think he's very happy here and done a really good job for us.
How much do you think, obviously, Rhett, because you know before the season just how much this year was going to mean to you one way or the other, so just how much do you think about your own future beyond this week?
I didn't go into this year thinking this year meant a whole lot to me more than the other. Went into this year like I do every year, trying to do the best we can. And we've been blessed to have a lot of success offensively over the last several years. You know, we've had some good players. We've had some, at times things go our way. We've done some good jobs. This year we've struggled at times more. There's some things we've done well. There's some other things we haven't done as well. You coach long enough, you're going to have years where you struggle. It's how you push through those struggles that matters. And that's, again, the thing that this team, to me, deserves the most credit for because, you know, there's been some frustrating times. We've had some games not go away, and they come back each week and they play hard. They came out the other day when a lot of teams playing games that they were supposed to win yesterday were in dogfights. Our guys did a good job of coming out ready to play. They didn't let last week's disappointment overshadow the importance of this week. And so, if nothing else, that says a lot about our team. But I haven't really given that any thought because those things will take care of themselves.
Rhett, when you have a guy in Rock who only touched the ball at one time in the previous 3 games heading into yesterday, is yesterday something he can build on, or is something like, well, Idaho's so different from Alabama, you don't really know what kind of carry?
No, Rock's a really good player, so it was good to see him get in there and get in the action again. You know, like we said, Javon has been playing very well as of late. Peyton has kind of been the steady guy all year. Those guys have gotten more of the true running back carries, you know, but we're going to need Rock, we're going to need KJ, we're going to need them all. And it was good to see him get in there and get some action. It didn't matter who it was against.
How much do you think this game's going to mean for him, for maybe wanting to atone for the first play of last year?
I'm not worried about that first play any more than he is. That's all in the past.
You were able to ride Javon pretty good, Texas A&M for the 20-plus carries, but the other games obviously hadn't had that. So I know it was a minor injury at one point, came out for a couple plays yesterday. How confident are you in half determined to develop that running game this week that he can handle against that front 20-plus carries?
I feel like he could. I think him and Peyton, body-wise, are both built for that. You know, yesterday he was fine. He could have had more carries. The way the game flowed and where it got to, it wasn't necessary to give him more carries. But I think he proved in that A&M game against a big SEC defense that he can handle the load, which was good. And if we need him to do it, I think he'd be ready to do it.